What's going on, everybody? What is up? I am back. Okay, I had to come back to you guys real quick, okay, so that we could just talk about a little bit of this Jonathan Major situation. Okay, because y'all know the verdict and stuff is going to be out later today. Well, I would assume today because I think that they're going to reconvene. They're going to connect. The jury is around like what 2 o'clock they said. To find out whether or not this man is guilty or not. Girl, it's really giving heavy on the peculiar case of Jonathan Majors. It's the case started on Monday and it's clearly wrapping up by today, like it took a full week. I'm just wondering what happened to all the evidence that people was talking about in the beginning. And when I say people, I'm really talking about the attorneys. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Bippy? What's up, Keisha, honey? What's going on? Listen, I just want to know, where is the video footage that Jonathan Major's attorney swore that the driver had? Where is that evidence? You said that he has video footage of that. Was that presented in court? Because it's given that it wasn't. Okay. So, I mean, was the camera not working that day? What was really going on? And then defense, how y'all, I mean, not defense, prosecutors. Hey, state, the people. I want to know what happened to all them folks that y'all said had something to say about Jonathan in their previous relationship with him. Where are those witnesses? Because y'all swore y'all sat down and talked to all of these grand people that had so much to say. Were you guys not able to bring them to the front in any capacity for the case? Because I'm just wondering, girl, because where was they at? I feel like y'all are missing some stuff. Was it not admissible? So I just have questions for both sides. I would have liked to have seen, the things that y'all said that y'all had, and we didn't necessarily see that. Okay. But I want to get into the driver and then we'll get into like the closing arguments and stuff like that. Y'all, it's so many different articles because I've been reading so much different stuff. So I have some articles open that we're going to get into. But tell me why I didn't realize that the driver wasn't even Jonathan's witness. Girl, that was the state's witness. The state brought that man out there, expecting him to testify on their behalf against Jonathan. And let me tell y'all, when I was reading it, and I'm probably going to laugh again as I get into it with y'all, girl, I just thought it was so funny because, again, it's making me think about Tory Lanez. It's like, y'all done brought this man up here thinking he finna come up and speak against Jonathan. And, girl, he over there making your client look a fool. Girl, I'm hollering, okay? Or I ain't gonna say your client because Jabari, the chick Grace, isn't a client of the state, but y'all key witness. All right, he over there making her look a damn fool, and I just thought it was so comical. I just started laughing. Girl, I said, "Girl, now what the hell going on now?" Because Tory done brought his man to the courts last December, honey, and this man done sat up there and chose violence and went all against him. And then here we are with the same damn thing. Girl, I am chuckling. It ain't funny, but it's funny. I want to get into this courthouse news story. But again, like I told you, I got a lot of different articles up. So we might be bouncing. Because what I really was looking for, I had read something late at night. And I cannot find this article to save my life, y'all. The court case is not live streamed, unfortunately. I think somebody asked that in the chat. It's not. So we have to rely on, and I think somebody said that New York doesn't allow cameras in their courtroom or something. So we have to rely on what the media wants to feed to us, okay? Unfortunately. Same thing happened with the last case. It was something else I was so I had read something and I cannot find this article. I went in my history and I don't know, maybe I'm not looking good enough. But I was reading something about this witness before we get into this driver. And what I was reading was the prosecute this, I'm gonna say the state, because I be getting these people mixed up. Excuse me. But the state met with the driver like back in the springtime, from my understanding. And when they met with him during the springtime, he didn't have an interpreter. So they were only relying on his broken English and making out what it appears kind of what the hell they wanted to. Okay. Based on whatever it is he told them. So they felt, I guess, confident in what he was going to say, which would likely speak against Jonathan. But I could have sworn I read that the judge was like, no, like y'all interviewed this person without an interpreter, and his English is heavily broken. Like, no, y'all need to get this man an interpreter. And as he was doing his witness stand stuff, he had an interpreter, and it was completely different than what the state had. So I do see why some people may feel like he changed his statement, like he's changing his story. His story has changed from what it was initially, or this or that. And it's like, did it really change? I don't know if it did or didn't, but I'm just asking, did it really change, or did they make out what they wanted to make out from his broken English without having an actual interpreter there from the very beginning? I don't know. But I will say that both sides definitely relied on this man, thinking that he was going to be, somebody that was going to advocate on their side. And he ended up, being pulled into the courtroom on not Jonathan, but on the state side. But he's speaking up on behalf of Jonathan and Team Jonathan. Girl, it's hilarious. I don't know, but he might go to jail. I don't know. He might not go to jail. We're going to find out later. But anywho, I want to get into this article here on Courthouse News, where they say the private driver takes witness stand in Jonathan Majors' DV trial. Okay. So they said the driver of the SUV in which actor Jonathan Majors is accused of injuring his ex-girlfriend took the witness stand on Monday as the Manhattan District Attorney's Office winds down their direct case against the Marvel actor. Now they're saying Assistant District Attorney Mr. Perez told jurors in his opening statement last week that the driver of the Escalade. Okay, so the case started last week. Okay. I'm thinking it started earlier this week. Anywho, what he said in his opening statement was that the driver of the Escalade would testify that Jonathan was over there throwing Jabari like a football into the car during a domestic, altercation. And then he says, but the driver's testimony on Monday afternoon lacked the promised specific description of the charged assault. And when I read that, I cackled so hard. I thought it was like the funniest shit ever. I was so tickled by that. I was like, not y'all done brought this man in here thinking this man finna be team y'all. And he said the complete opposite. Now, speaking through a Urdu language interpreter, they're saying that the driver, Naveed Sawar, testified that he kept his eyes straight. Now, I don't know how helpful this is going to be to Jonathan if this man saying he was looking straight ahead the whole time, okay? He says Majors and Jabari were in the back. They were fighting, all right? They were fighting in the back. He said that he had got a feeling that she had hit the boy because of the way that she was fighting and because of the sounds that were coming from the back of the car. He believed that, you know what I'm saying, she hit the man. Now, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office had accused Majors in a set of misdemeanor charges of assault. Now they're saying Grace after of assaulting Grace after she saw the romantic text messages in his phone from another woman who I believe they was trying to say her name is Cleopatra. And I'm like, girl, where did Cleopatra come from? So if y'all saying the name is Cleopatra, then girl, it's giving everybody he was texting Megan for me. Okay. Prosecutors claim Majors grabbed Jabari's hand with such force he fractured one of her fingers. Now, this is where the video kind of hurts what y'all saying just a little bit, because, and they said then pulled her arm back behind her back and struck her in the side of the head. So did all of that happen in the car, that part? Because the first part where they're saying that he grabbed her hand with such force he fractured one of her fingers, we see that she did that to herself because she kept trying to hold on to that man. He was trying to put her in the car, and when they got out the car, she was still holding on to him. He's walking off and then he snatches away. So whatever happened to me on the outside, it looked like she injured herself. They also put somebody on the stand, an expert on the stand, and the expert said that whatever the prosecutors were trying to claim Jonathan did, it could not have possibly injured her finger in the way that she was saying. So I don't know, girl. It's giving Miss Ma'am is a liar. It's just, I mean, that's what it's giving. She definitely was over the line. Okay. What else are they saying? They said the girl became very angry after Majors refused to let her look at his phone. The driver testified through the broken English of the language interpreter. They said that the driver testified he picked up the couple at a particular apartment on that evening of March 24th and took them to see a play at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. He said that Jonathan wanted to get rid of the girl. Okay. And he opened the door. So he was trying to get rid of her ass when he opened that door. All right. And obviously, this was after the phone, and she saw the phone and stuff. He goes on to say he was trying to get rid of her. He repeated even after the judge told him not to speculate on the reasons for what he had seen, basically saying, I believe the judge told him, don't speak on what you think you know, speak on what you know for sure. Let me see if I have that in another article where the judge told him that, like, don't get ahead of yourself, speak for what you know. Let me see. Yeah, the judge says they said on several occasions throughout the driver's testimony, the judge reminded him, you can only testify to what is happening, not what you think happened. Okay. So what the judge had told that man. Let me see what else they were saying over here. Which one is it? Okay, here we go. All right. They said he was saying, leave me alone. I have to go. He was not doing anything. She was doing it. Now, at some point during this man actually testifying, girl, I guess he just kept damn talking. So they said, let me go back. They said reviewing video surveillance footage of the couple's hired Cadillac Escalade. They said the driver, speaking through his interpreter, said that at one point he had stopped the car and Majors had got out. He was trying to get rid of her, is what he said. So then the damn attorney who pulled him up to be his witness said, please keep your opinions to yourself. I said, oh, not you. Ain't that's why you got the band up there? You done brought him up there for him to speak on the situation, and now he telling you what it is. You're going to turn around and say that man to keep it to his damn self. Girl, I said, I know Mr. Perez was mad as hell when he heard that, honey. I know he was pissed the hell off. Because the whole time the man was testifying, they said that Jonathan attorney was over there smiling and taking damn notes. Like, told y'all. I told y'all. Y'all thought I was playing, but I told y'all this. So I don't know. Let's see. They asked him, did you ever find any blood in your vehicle after the night? Did you ever see at any point that night Mr. Majors being in the third row of the vehicle? And the man the driver responded and said no and no. Basically, like, no, that didn't happen. So what else are they saying? During the defense's opening argument, Zuckerman told jurors that the driver had described Jabari as a psycho girl in his recollection of the fight, but they're saying that the driver did not use the description during his 30-minute direct testimony. Okay, prosecutors are expected to rest their case soon. Is there anything else? Not necessarily. Okay, so there isn't anything else, but basically the main highlight that I wanted to get to when it came down to the witness, which was the driver, was the fact that he came in as the state's witness and he was over there on some Team Jonathan type stuff. So there's that. Somebody says that goes against the rules of evidence to testify to opinions versus just stating factual events observed. Thank you for dropping that in the chat. Private talking. They have a toxic relationship fueled by substances. I believe this kind of activity was how it always probably went down, in my opinion. Possibly. Like, it was very weird because I was seeing a lot of people talk about this. And it was like really the time frame of events that really didn't make sense. Like so of course we saw the video where he ran away from her. So he got away from her. She ended up meeting these strangers or whatever. She saw him walking past. Looks like she wanted to follow him. It seems like to me he was trying to tell her, like, get the hell away from me. Like, I'm good. Okay. He leaves, books him a hotel. Instead of her, who says she's as injured as she is, instead of her going home or getting medical attention or calling the police, even though she said the reason she didn't call was because she didn't want to get him in trouble, I guess, him being a black man, all of that. She decided to go and hang out with those strangers that she saw. And I was just wondering, what the hell did she tell those strangers in that short amount of time? Because one of the dudes looked like he wanted to throw hands on Jonathan. And it's like, you don't even know what the hell going on. And you over here like you ready to fight the man. What is that really about? That was kind of weird. But anywho, because one of the girls had to hold him back. But either way, Grace decided she was going to go hang out with those people. Even though she said she had a broken finger and she had all of these different stuff that happened to her, she was seeing, this is what his attorney was trying to get us to see earlier in the year when all of this went down. Like this, you can't possibly be as injured as you say you are if you're going out hanging out, you're using the very hand that you say that you injured, you getting drinks and everything. But this was the gag for me. It's you going out and about and then decided to use that man's card to buy yourself tons of drinks, get $800 bottles and stuff for the strangers as well. Now, for me, I'm looking at it like this, two ways in a sense. It's like, one, like, shoot, you don't put your hands on me or whatever like that. If you, I am gonna run up your card. Now what? Right? But then at the same time, it kind of shows how spiteful you can be. And that could potentially not help your case if you're supposed to be this battered victim. Who's to say that you're not being spiteful about this whole situation? Right? So you have that. So it does bring about, a little reasonable doubt when it comes to her. So then you got Jonathan that stayed the night at a hotel. Jonathan decides to go to his apartment. I think he probably got there at like maybe 10 something, close to 11, whatever it was. He could not even get in there. So he's beating on the door. She's in the house, but she's not trying to answer the door. So he ends up calling his agent, talks to his agent or whatever. And then he also got in touch with the maintenance person or whatever so that they can let him into his apartment. Gets into the apartment and goes and finds her in the bathroom, stretched the hell out, not knowing what the hell wrong with her. I guess she thought he was playing or something. So he decided to call the police. And I think the agent could have told him to call the police, not sure, but he called the police. Police got there. Jonathan led them to her. He put a towel or a blanket or something over her because she was halfway naked or whatever like that, stretched out. And then she's trying to get up all discombobulated. But this is what it makes it seem like she on some cap stuff a little bit to me. Because he got there at a certain time. I'm going to say these are not the accurate times, but just an example. He got there at 11, right? Being on the door. She sends a text message to somebody at like 11:07. Bitch, you heard this man beating on this door and you didn't answer it. And then you in his shit. And some part of me is like, that's what you get though, Jonathan. Like whether this a white lady, black lady, whatever, like that's what you get. Because you knew whatever you was dealing with, you could have been Xscape, you stayed in it. That's what you get. So she didn't answer the door. He gets upstairs, sees that she's, I think he finally get in there maybe like at 11:10. Sees what's going on. She's stressed the hell out, whatever. He calls the cops at 11:15. Next thing you know, the cops get up there. And then, I don't know, she gave them whatever story she gave them, which leads to this situation here. And I just feel like the fact that you was able to send a text to somebody, we don't know what that text was, and you heard this man beating on the door. If I'm a juror, just for me, I'm going to be looking at it like, okay, this little bitch here be capping. Like, this little bitch got something. I mean, and you're an actor. You're an actress too, right, ma'am? Oh, girl, was you trying to set the scene? Like you was trying to make him feel sorry? Were you trying to make it be like some, look what you made me do? She told me she took a lot of pills. I think she went to the hospital to get an actual evaluation. I don't know what came of that, or were you just capping? Like, I don't know. It's just real weird because, in the past, he made, from the text messages of the past, he talked about like unaliving himself. And then here it is. She's in the same situation of wanting to unalive herself too, after he done sent her that breakup text. And I'm just like, y'all just toxic as hell. And some part of me is like, just really, that's what y'all get. Because y'all just sat up here and y'all knew y'all should have been let it go and y'all just continue to deal. Like, I can't take it. Just continue to deal with each other. Let me see what else they were reporting in this article. Yeah, the driver said that he wasn't doing anything. Was there another one that I wanted to get into? Oh, it was the Vulture article. I want to check out this Vulture article over here. Okay. And this is more so about the closing arguments. They're saying Jonathan Majors' closing argument blames his accuser for revenge partying. And that's where we kind of get into her using his card, running up a check or whatever like that on this man's card. So they're saying during closing arguments in Jonathan Majors' domestic violence trial on a Thursday in Manhattan, two narratives emerged that presented an uncomfortable referendum on how a society should handle alleged violence against women. Okay. They go on to say for the prosecution, Major's alleged pattern of abusive behavior towards Grace started or culminated on March 25th during an altercation in a car. Everything else, Jabari's inaction following past incidents of behavior, her actions after the purported incident, they say is a distraction. Did he or did he not assault her in and around the car? That they said was it. Okay, they said for the defense. So basically what they were saying, the prosecution, was don't worry about like this. The only thing that we should be focusing on is what happened in that car or whatever like that. Basically trying to tell the people, don't worry about all the extraness that people are talking about. We're only trying to focus on whether he really assaulted her or not. And I'm over here kind of thinking to myself, like, why we ain't focusing on all of that when y'all sat up there and brought up a case from a whole different country, got it admitted into this damn case here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got it admitted, or at least when his attorney got to talking, you know, the judge decided that he was going to let it be a part of the evidence or whatever like that. So why is it y'all can present incriminating evidence from all the way back, and then you get your ass up here for a closing statement and you want people to just focus on March 25th? No, we're going to focus on all the facts of the case, including what it is that y'all gave us for us to look at. Okay, as far as whatever went down between them in London. So, yeah. They go on to say for the defense, it was everything else that really mattered. Indeed, the defense, which leaned heavily on purported racial bias in Major's case, almost treated the alleged assault as an afterthought. She was drunk and prosecutors are racist, is basically what they was trying to say. The girl was drunk. She was doing too much, belligerent. And the prosecutors are racist because they could have dropped this case a long time ago, but they chose not to. And this is pretty much what the defense is trying to say. What else? They said during her closing argument, prosecutor Kelly told jurors that this case boiled down to 4 words: control, domination, manipulation, and abuse. She said the trial is only about what happened the night in and outside the car. That's the only thing that matters. But you done pulled up evidence or whatever, text messages and shit from a long periodical time. And I'm not saying you shouldn't if it speaks to his character. I get it. But then now you want us to just focus on that night. We're not doing that. Anywho. She said Jabari repeatedly made clear that she did not want to implicate Majors. She didn't want to report to law enforcement. She didn't call 911. She recognized that Majors was the person who called 911 and said there's nothing wrong with appreciating the fact that the defendant called 911. This is what the lady is saying to the fucking jurors. It's the woman that says she was so badly bruised, because here's the thing, whether she called y'all or not and y'all picked up the case, she still gave a story to the police for them to work with to pass over to y'all. Okay. And didn't call 911 or nothing. This man called 911, making sure she good. And y'all talking about something, there's nothing wrong with appreciating the fact that the defendant did call 911. We can appreciate that, but let's not forget, okay? She's still the victim. He may have called 911, but she is still the victim here. Galloway noted that Jabari was incredibly private and had nothing to gain from coming forward. That's what she say. All right, let's see what else. Goes on to say this case is the people of the state of New York versus Jonathan Majors. It is not Grace Jabari versus Jonathan Majors. I hear you. So now y'all got to see if the state of New York, the people, if they have truly proven their case then. As for the scorned ex theory, this is not consistent with the testimony that you heard. Well, what about the evidence that we saw? If it's not about the testimony that we heard, ma'am, what about what we saw? She argued this is not a revenge plot to ruin the defendant's life, his career, to take everything away from him. This is where it becomes difficult. And I'm just thinking, like, if I don't know, my assumption is these are my thoughts if I was one of the jurors. You know, you're saying that it's not a revenge plot, but right after the incident happened, instead of her seeking the medical attention she felt that she needed or whatever the case was, she chose to take this man's car, go party with some strangers, and run that bitch up. If that's not showing spite and revenge, I don't know what the rest is. You know, And maybe she didn't mean to get him in trouble because she wasn't really trying to testify for real, but also understand Jonathan was trying to put them charges on her too. But it seems that they told her, if you come and testify for us, then we'll make sure whatever charges he put against you will likely get dropped. He could press them all day, but we ain't gonna arrest you, so we'll drop them or whatever. So that's what it was given. But anywho, they said, if anything, Jabari's unwillingness to immediately say that Majors was the perpetrator was a testimony to her credibility. Do you hear me? The fact that she was not willing to immediately say that Jonathan Majors did this to her was her testimony for credibility. Okay, girl. Galloway did her best to dispel misconceptions about DV and reporting abuse, as Jabari was scrutinized by the defense for not being more straightforward with the police. When the defendant had behaved in a way that you are hearing previously in public, he had told her not to speak about it to anyone, that it would ruin their relationship. Ms. Jabari understood this. How did this impact her? So basically, she's using what happened last year as a reason to why this girl likely did not come forward this time, out of fear, probably losing a relationship, being hurt or whatever, not wanting the attention, whatever it was, maybe being in fear of how he was going to respond. So that's what they're doing. She didn't want to tell anybody what was going on, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm starting to question. I'm not saying Jonathan is a saint by far. Hello. I feel like they both contributed to the toxicness of this relationship 1000%. But I also wonder if she was not open and willing to tell what happened because of how it would also make her look as well. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like she was trying to protect herself just as much as she was trying to protect him too. Because they're both actors. Now they go on to say, as for the defense, they claim that Jabari was aggressive towards Majors. She noted the nearly 2 years of their increasingly abusive relationship and how that could prompt a strong reaction over cheating. Her actions could not be taken in an isolated vacuum. The defense closings tried to paint Jabari as an unhinged drunk and insisted Majors was the victim. Jonathan Majors is innocent and Grace is a liar. Okay. His attorney insisted it was medically impossible that Jabari could have sustained the injuries because of Majors. Now they did have somebody come up and give like a testimony on that. They said back in court Monday afternoon, and this is coming from People magazine. They said Dr. William Chang, I think that's how you say it, an expert medical witness in the trial and an attending physician at Bellevue Hospital, where Jabari was admitted for injuries to her finger and ear the day after the assault, told prosecutors that both Jabari's injuries are consistent with the narrative. No. I thought I read something different. Okay, they're saying that it's consistent with the narrative that she shared, but on cross-examination, he said the injury to her finger was inconsistent with having been caused by someone twisting her finger. Okay, so some of what she was saying wasn't true. It didn't happen. I think that the injury to her finger came from her trying to pull on his clothes. I do. Not as far as the face injury, I feel like that came from him trying to throw her in the car. I do. Because it was just like a red. Now, where she got that ear injury, where she behind her ear, it was like a split, like a little split or whatever, like a laceration behind her ear. I don't know how she got that. And the fact that she was out partying all night, ain't no telling what could have happened. It could have came from the car situation. It could have came from aftermath of that. I just feel like, to me, I don't know how the jurors are thinking or what they're going to do, but I do feel like there is some reasonable doubt. And I'm going to play an attorney in a second so you guys can get her opinion on the situation as well. But anywho, what else? They're saying that she cast Jabari as a woman lacking morals, saying that she had a ball at the nightclub with strangers she encountered at the incident. The attorney noted that Jabari was smoking illegally in a nightclub with her hand, her left busy holding her glass of champagne, referring to Jabari's claims of an injured hand. She was revenge partying and charging champagne to the man she's angry with, and treating these strangers to fancy champagne she bought with Jonathan's credit card. And if he is found not guilty, I would sue her for that. I would. I know I wouldn't appreciate nothing like that. But his attorney repeatedly girl, I'm tripping. She pretty much said that the case was about racial bias, and she was done. Once she was wrapping up, she was pretty much just saying, like, listen, these motherfuckers racist. They over here believing this white hoe and her lies, okay? She brought out some white lies, and everybody else out here is going for her white lies, okay? She says, if you believe Grace, then despite Jonathan Majors telling her how dangerous it is for a black man to call the police in America, despite all of that, he beat her badly in a car that was both in his own name, and then he called 911 himself. If you believe Grace, then Jonathan caused those injuries, and then he told the police 911 operator about her injuries. Then he told the cops who showed up at his apartment that they had an argument the night before. Even though it's dangerous for him, he still was the main one to call 911. So they want that to be considered. Thank you so much, Ascended Beauty, for the super chat. It baffles me that our people are so quick to say our black men are wrong. Why isn't that we don't believe that there are extremely toxic women in this world, and they do exist? This is very annoying. Thank you so much for the super chat. And this is the for me, this is why I do not, for me, everybody's different. I do not like to align myself with women because I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to automatically assume a situation because I'm a woman, I'm going to automatically be team woman. And I damn sure don't want to do that when it comes to black women. I want to look at it from both sides, because for me, I have watched and experienced toxic ass females. And if you're a person that may have heavily experienced toxic ass males or whatever, so maybe that's where their point of view comes from a lot of times, because they've experienced, more negativity from males than females, possibly, I don't know, but I just know that I've experienced both. So I can't always say that a female is right or a woman is right in a situation. I just can't do that for me. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. And thank you so much for the super chat. Like, and it's crazy when I see this case. I don't know if Jonathan is innocent, but what I know is that he's not guilty alone, if that's the case. They both have a shared fault in this situation, but the way that he's being heavily ridiculed, and people want to accept the facts for however they want to accept the facts to believe their own narrative, it's kind of sad. It is, like, it is all. And then this is the crazy part for me, is sometimes, or not sometimes, a lot of times with his case, they automatically start going to his attire and how he dresses and how he looks. And it's like, you don't even really make no damn sense. Y'all like talking about his slave clothes and he's this and he's that. He probably is the type of man. And it's like, y'all, we really don't be knowing these people for real. Yeah, we give a lot of our opinions and stuff, but we don't know. I mean, look at your attire. Look at how you dress, how you wear your hair. Somebody can assume who the hell they think you are based on that. Oh, yeah, she's giving a hoe. But let somebody say that, oh, she's giving a hoe the way she always wearing workout outfits, which sounds so stupid, right? Because she wearing workout outfits, she got to be a hoe. Just how dumb that sounds similar to when people try to insult his attire and stuff, and how he may show up to the courtroom and it's like, okay, y'all getting distracted from the facts. Y'all want to sit up here and just paint this man to be whatever it is that y'all want to paint him out to be, like, because you're so team I hate men and all of this other shit. And it's like, consider the possibility that somebody lying, and consider the possibility that it really could be the woman. Like, it really, really could. You know what I'm saying? And then I also feel like, I challenge y'all, Travis Rudolph case should have taught y'all a whole fucking lot. It should have taught y'all a lot. Because this girl was finna send this man up the creek without any paddle. This man was finna be gone after he ended up murdering one of the guys that came to his house that she sent to his door. Shout out to him getting off not guilty, because he was defending his family, period. So it's like, man, these women be out here, they be on some that's just what it is. Women have mental health issues just like men do, and be overboard on some other so I mean, I definitely agree with that. So thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, thank you again for the super chat. I agree. That's what I don't like. All of our men are not abusive, right? And I'll be honest. It's hard sometimes for me to have those conversations when my fiance is not like that at all. Very relaxed, very mild tempered, like just like a cool laid back, So for me, knowing that I have a great fiance, it's hard to really shit on black men. So when I know that there are some out there, yes, and when we have situations, I'm gonna call them out accordingly, but I can't spew certain things and constantly make it seem like black men they're detrimental to society, they this, they that, they da 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 da, and because it makes me feel like, damn, when I say that, am I talking about my black man? Am I talking about my black son? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, no, I'm not gonna do this shit. Y'all can play this shit somewhere else. I'm not gonna do it. So if y'all want to be on black men hate train, I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all want to do because it's just how y'all eat. I'm just telling y'all what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna group think and team up because I'm a black woman. I'm a woman, and I'm just not gonna do it. So if I defend a few guys here or there, and people want to say you're male centered, I'm okay with that. I don't know why people think like, oh, and I could be male centered if I feel like it, woman centered. Like, I'm just gonna look at the situation from all sides and not just one angle because that's what the fuck I want it to be. Like, I think that's crazy. But girl, that's what they do, girl. They gonna do that anyway. Cause that's just how they is. Thanks for letting me go on that tangent. I appreciate that little super chat, honey. I had to say something because the people be doing too fucking much for me, and I just let them ride. Anywho, girl, let's go back. Where were we? All right, his fear of what happens when a black man in America calls 911 came true. So even though he called 911, y'all, and he trying to support this lady and look out for her while she's in this room or whatever in his fucking house, he still get the cops called on him. Now, I'm not saying he's 100% innocent though, and I just can't I can't say that. And the reason why is because I don't know what happened in the vehicle. I only saw what happened outside of the vehicle, and the shit that they were trying to say this man did, took her in, flipped her behind her back and all of that. We didn't see that. He literally ran blocks. I'm not running behind my accuser. I'm just not, or my abuser. I'm just not going to do that. For a woman that actually has been in a DV situation, girl, I'm running away. I'm not running behind. And I'm just being real honest. So that just didn't, it's not really looking good for her. And what's so crazy, y'all, when it comes to these the details of the case, it's not looking good for her because of the evidence. It's not looking good for him because he's black. And that's just how I feel. That's just what it is. Like, for real. A lot of people minds have changed from what they originally thought, just reading like some comments and tweets and stuff. A lot of people that may have thought one way are like now thinking differently with this evidence, but it's still sad because he black. So it's like they might see your powerful, rich, buff ass and be like, and looking at your attire and judging you off that when they really should be judging you off the facts of the case. And then it's like, sayonara, buddy. So it's a messed up situation, and some part of me is like, that's what you get because you knew what the fuck you was dealing with. You should have got away from her crazy ass. But anyway, y'all both crazy. Thank you so much for the super chat again. Exactly, I love my man. He is amazing. He's not perfect. I'm just truly blessed. I'm done now. FYI, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and the super chats. Thank you. Girl, you so messy, girl. Listen. And y'all know I don't talk about this show. But you messy as hell for this because I saw it, girl. And that situation is messy. It's the dog. Okay, girl, that is super messy. But anyway, girl, that is embarrassing, actually. It's more than messy. This shit is embarrassing. I hate it for her. Shortly after the attorney delivered this line, they're saying that Majors appeared to cry. Girl, he was crying now. He cried and started. Okay, now, Jonathan, baby, I'm gonna have to clock you. Now, you ain't been giving too much of a reaction the entire time in the courtroom from what the people been saying. Now, when you saw that the witness got on the stand, you did do a piece of a chuckle or a little bit of a smile, right? Because you knew exactly what he was going to say and you knew it wasn't going to look good for the prosecutors. However, you're not going to play me up here because it's giving acting. The same way Jabari got her ass on that stand the first day and started crying and being emotional and all that. She's talking about some, do I have to watch it? I don't want to see it again. Do I have to look at it? It was like really tumultuous. I went through all of this. I went through all of that. So she put her best acting on the first fucking day. And I feel like you're doing the same on the last day, baby. So this is where y'all both give me toxicity together. Okay? And I'm kind of glad you ain't get on the stand because you would have got your ass up there and cried and put on a great performance too. Y'all both contributed to it. Let's keep going. Over there, talking about something started dabbing tears away with a tissue. Girl, I cannot. The courtroom theatrics, come on, took an even sharper turn when his own attorney herself got choked up. Now, bitch, I'm not with y'all on this. Girl, y'all is trying to lay it on the jury thick. I'm sorry. I can't. Talking about her voice got the cracking and shit. Talking about you're here to see what is obvious. What this evidence shows, Jonathan Majors is innocent. That's what she says, y'all. Now, when her closing ended, she returned to the defense table and she also dabbed her eyes. Girl, so I guess that's what made Megan Good cry too. Girl, y'all is some actors, baby. The most striking evidence in Majors' case was Jabari's 4 days on the stand. They're saying Jabari described how the whirlwind relationship after meeting on the set of Marvel. So I don't really care about. Okay, he said that he was a monster and wanted to kill himself and had actions and plans to do so. Okay, that's what Jabari ended up telling the jurors. But you also, even though that's something he said, what we saw was you trying to was actually follow through with your shit. And you knew that man was beating on the door. See, this is where it's sketchy. He beating on the door and then said, you stretched out. You supposed to be blanked the fuck out, right? Because you took so many pills, you don't know what's going on. But you sent the text 7 minutes later. And then you went back flatline. And then the cops came in there, about, I don't know, 9, however many minutes later they came up in there. And then now you want to act all discombobulated. Like, I'm sorry. Girl, it's giving acting. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the super chat. Your podcast is fire. I love your way. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yes, girl, like I'm confused, Jabari girl. Prosecutors showed jurors video of Majors picking up Jabari as she leaves the SUV, trying to hoist her back inside. The recording then seems to show Majors taking her by the hand and crossing the street. No, it looked like he took her by the hand, but he didn't. She was still holding on to him after he realized he couldn't get her ass in that car. So he just walked off and she's still holding on to him. So he snatched away. That man wasn't holding her hand. She was holding his jacket. And that's how she got the injury to her hand, I'm sure. And then chased this man down 4 blocks. Let me let this attorney talk to y'all. Let me let y'all hear what she has to say about all of this, okay?
So I know the streets are buzzing because a lot of the evidence in the Jonathan Majors trial was just released to the public, okay? And as a criminal defense attorney who practices in Manhattan, who has been sitting in the courtroom watching most of the prosecution and defense's case, seeing their witnesses and seeing the evidence firsthand, I truly believe that there is enough reasonable doubt for Jonathan Majors to be acquitted on both counts of assault and harassment. The first offense that Jonathan is being charged with is assault in the 3rd degree, which is when someone intentionally causes someone else physical injury. And in order for it to be considered physical injury, that person has to suffer substantial pain. So if someone steps on your toe and it hurts a little bit, that's not enough to hit this threshold. Usually it has to be something like a punch, or in this case, a break to the middle finger, which is what Grace Jabari says that Jonathan did to her when she had his phone and he was trying to get it away from her. The issue here is that, first of all, it's hard to prove that someone intentionally did something, right? But it's also hard to prove that he was the one who caused her injuries. Because they had their altercation in their car around midnight, and then after that, she went out clubbing with strangers, went home and went to sleep, and was not discovered until hours later by Majors. There was so much time in which they were not together that there is a reasonable doubt that he was the one that caused her injuries in those brief moments in the car when they were scuffling over her phone. Moreover, what the defense did was show several videos of Grace in the club taking selfies, hugging people, holding a stair railing with her right hand. And they had a doctor who they asked, if someone has a fracture to the middle finger, could they do this? Could they do that? And if they could do that, would they be able to do it without substantial pain? To which the doctor repeatedly answered, no. Moreover, the doctor who treated Grace Jabari, who was the prosecution's witness, said that it would be extraordinarily unlikely for only one finger to be injured if someone's whole hand was to be twisted or pulled by another person. And Grace Jabari only had injuries to the middle finger. There's no bruising on any other part of her hand. The doctor who treated Grace Jabari said it's more likely that such an injury would occur from either hitting a finger or falling on it. Now, that does not mean that it is impossible that this injury could have been caused by Jonathan grabbing her hand, prying her fingers, off of his cell phone when the text came in from the other woman. It is possible. However, both the doctor that the prosecution called, as well as the doctor that the defense called as an expert, both said over and over again that it is very unlikely that the injuries happened this way. And if they did happen at that time, it would be very unlikely that Grace would have been able to operate the way that she did after the altercation with Jonathan Majors, which raises a reasonable doubt that the injuries occurred then and not later on, either at the club or when she arrived home that night. Now, this is the other injury that Grace Jabari had when she went into the hospital the day after the altercation with Jonathan Majors. And as you see, there's a laceration to the back of her ear. It looks very painful, right? So the prosecution argued that this occurred when she was holding Jonathan's phone, and he was trying to get it back from her and basically hit or swiped her against the back of her head and ear while he was trying to get his phone back. Now, both doctors said that there is a possibility that this injury could come from such an injury. But they said that it would be quite unlikely, given that usually this type of injury would happen when the ear is pulled forward by some object, particularly because there's no injury to the part of her head that's right behind where her earrings would be, because you would assume that the earring post would have went into the back of the skin and punctured that as well. Furthermore, the bleeding didn't seem to be any presence of bleeding until she goes home after partying and wakes up with some blood on her pillow. But there's many videos that the prosecution and defense play that show her getting out of the car with Jonathan, approaching a group of strangers, and as she's speaking to them, she's using her right hand with the injured middle finger. She's placing her hair into a bun, and there does not seem to be presence of injury either on the hand or behind the ear right following her altercation with Jonathan. And so while these unfortunate injuries happened sometime, there was a reasonable doubt that they happened and were caused intentionally by Jonathan Majors. So the other way in which Jonathan could be convicted of assault in the third degree is if he's found to have acted recklessly in such a way that caused physical injury and thus substantial pain to Grace Jabari. That he broke her middle finger and caused the laceration to her back of her ear, not on purpose, but because he was acting in such a way that there was a huge risk that he was knowing of that such injuries could occur. And he acted in such a way that the average person would not act when causing that injury. But again, because there's such a reasonable doubt that he is the one that caused those injuries, we don't have that element met of the crime. And so it's very unlikely that he can be convicted of recklessly as well, just because there's not enough tying him to being the cause of her injuries, meaning that in general, it seems as though he could not be convicted of assault in the third degree in this case, because there was no causation between his actions and Grace's injuries being proven by the evidence that's been set before us. So the other offense that Jonathan is being charged with is aggravated harassment in the second degree. And as you see, it's with the intent to harass, annoy, threaten, or alarm another person. He or she strikes, shoves, kicks, or otherwise subjects another person to physical contact, thereby causing physical injury to such person. And remember, we talked about what physical injury means. It means it has to be injury that causes substantial pain. So the prosecution is saying that when he was exiting the car, Grace tried to follow him, and he repeatedly put her physically back inside of the car. Initially, the prosecution said that the driver of the Escalade in which they had for the night would say that he threw her in a way that was a 10 out of 10 of force, that he was throwing her into the back of the car like a football. While we watched a clip of it, and he does indeed throw her back into the car repeatedly, it is hard to tell what the force is that is being used. And we also have the context that he was trying to prevent her from following him, as we then see he runs from her for blocks. When the driver came in to testify, he said instead that Jonathan was putting her back in the car to stop her from following him. And we also learned that when the district attorney was interviewing the driver, he did not have an English interpreter, and he is a speaker of Urdu. And the judge found him not to be competent enough in English to testify in English, and he had to have somebody there with him during his testimony to interpret from him. And so the defense raised the question, how can you say that when you spoke to the driver, he said that this was a 10 out of 10 force and he was throwing her like a football, if this person was not able to communicate fully in English? And it could be so. It could be that the driver did not want to use an interpreter. They thought that his English was stronger than what it was, that he felt uncomfortable using an interpreter for some reason. But at the end of the day, the prosecution opened their case by saying the driver would testify that this woman was being thrown like a football, that it was 10 out of 10 force. And then we learned that they had never communicated with him in his native language. And then his testimony on the stand did not match what the prosecution said he was going to say. In fact, on the stand, he said that he believed, even though he didn't see the actual altercation, that based on the sounds in the car, based on him hearing Jonathan telling Grace to leave him alone, that he believed that Grace was in fact the perpetrator. And again, we don't know. He didn't see it. So we can't take that as being true either. But all we can say is that the testimony that they based it on itself has a lot of reasonable doubt within it. Now, the last offense that Jonathan could be convicted of is harassment in the second degree. And to be honest, out of all of the acts, this is the only one that I think there's a possibility of conviction. Not because there's not a reasonable doubt, but because I feel like it's bordering more on it being easier to see this being true, that the elements could be met. Because if you look at the bottom, it's one thing of someone repeatedly committing acts which alarm or seriously annoy another person and serve no legitimate purpose. So it could be argued that by him putting her back into the car repeatedly when she was trying to get out, that was something which was seriously annoying or alarming her, because he was limiting her freedom of movement, and that ultimately she can go wherever she wants, meaning that there is no legitimate purpose. However, because she is later shown on video chasing him through blocks and him running from her, one can argue that he in fact had a legitimate purpose of stopping someone who was continuing to pursue him when he tried to get away from them. This is Jonathan and Grace moments after the altercation. She has both hands extended to him, with one of the fingers that had been allegedly broken in the incident. Her hair pulled back into a bun with the same finger that had allegedly been broken in the incident. Right ear showing, which had allegedly been cut. I just don't think you can convict beyond a reasonable doubt. So I know the streets are buzzing.
All right. So y'all just pretty much heard what Miss Ma'am had to say, and I think she made some good points, you know. Of course, I mean, she's an attorney. She was actually in the courtroom hearing of this case. So yeah, I mean, she made some good points, girl. It definitely was creating reasonable doubt for me before I even heard, you know, what she was saying, before I even came across her video. So to hear that, I'm like, okay, That makes sense. And I appreciate how she broke it down when it came down to each particular charge. Now, for Jonathan, I feel like the good thing for him, in a sense, is if he is found guilty, he's only facing 1 year in jail. And being that he hasn't had any history or anything, the judge may make that a suspended jail time, and he might have to do community service or something like that. Ain't no telling. But the issue is going to be, or the biggest thing is going to be, his career, and whether anybody would want to work with him or what. I'm sure he has suspended contracts. I know he had an Army commercial that's on delay. I don't think they took it completely away, but until the trial is complete, they just put that to the side. So, yeah, I don't know if he's going to get his agency back, if he's found not guilty, if they're going to come back and he's going to accept them back, or if he's going to try to go with somebody else, or what. So we'll just have to see how that's going to play out. Let me see what else was going on. Somebody says, I'll be honest, the way he talked to her, bringing up Coretta and Michelle, was extremely disturbing. Like, if you felt that way, you should be with a white chick from UK in the first place. Yeah, or you shouldn't be. I think that's probably what you meant to say. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. I heard some of the audio, but for me, I felt like he could have got his point across to me without mentioning no damn Coretta Scott and Michelle Obama to a white woman. There are other white women, I'm sure, that's with a black man, and you probably could have used them as an example, but you did not need to do that. And then turn around and talk about how great you are and how you're doing such amazing things for your culture. I would disagree. I think that you're doing amazing things for yourself. I don't think it has anything to do with the culture. Do not put us in it. And Coretta and Michelle somewhere wondering why the hell you putting them in it. Okay. Coretta been resting for some time. Why is you bothering her? I do understand where he was coming from in a sense, though, of representation and how it kind of like makes him look, if y'all got some plan or whatever it is y'all trying to do. But ultimately, not even really just that. Because I mean, your plan is your plan. Like, you can't necessarily force her, you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do what you do what you do. But I think the biggest thing was like, why are you hanging out getting all drunk and belligerent and shit, and then having your friends here coming here showing their ass? But a lot of people wanted to understand what they wanted to. Everybody interprets things different when it comes to like that type of stuff, audio and stuff. But I'm like, if you put this situation on anybody, just regular people, if you gotta go to work the next day or whatever it is you're doing, who the fuck wants their mate coming into their house all loud, belligerent, and you drunk as fuck, and you got your friends too? Like, don't be bringing that type of noise and shit over here to their house if you know this not how we operate and we have an understanding of how we moving. Don't be doing all that extra shit, right? So I did understand a bit of where he was coming from, but at the same time, Coretta, sir, Michelle, you was out of line. Definitely shouldn't have said that shit. And I'm just as disappointed in how you say you're doing great things for your culture, just as you would say, be like Coretta, be like Michelle or whatever. It's like, nigga, what? Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? And then this is the crazy thing for me with y'all NIGGA. Sometimes y'all really be trying to beat into a woman's head who y'all want them to be. I don't be liking that. Just go out there and find somebody that's probably already there. Y'all go out here and find people and then be trying to mold them into who the hell you want them to be, and then be getting frustrated with them when they're not going in that direction. Like, your whole relationship was toxic as hell. Y'all both was over there doing shit to each other. Okay, you sent the text message, said some slick stuff. You obviously did something to her. I do believe that when you sent that text message talking about I guess he didn't want her to go to the hospital, saying don't go to the hospital. I don't believe that you will protect us or anything like that. Like, you definitely did something. I mean, whether you just pushed her or you shoved her ass in another car, ain't no telling, but you definitely did something. Okay. Y'all toxic together. But I do feel like it's not fair to, in my opinion, that she was charged for her actions and she won't deal with any consequences, and he could potentially have to face the consequences on his end. I think that's fucked up. I think if he got charged, she should have got charged too, and we'll be right back in trial for her as well. Period. That's just what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I ain't like that, Jonathan. I was like, Jonathan, what the fuck is you talking about? Not Coretta now. But ultimately, I don't think, I just they have a tit for tat ass or had a tit for tat relationship. My other question is Megan Good. She's definitely being heavily ridiculed. She ain't stunned shit that nobody's talking about because everybody talk that shit about her. Girl, you look so stupid standing up there beside that man. I can't rock with it. I can't get with it. And y'all still gonna support her and watch her next film. Like, that's just how y'all are. Y'all gonna do it anyway. So that's why she ain't stunned shit y'all talking about. But I would like to know, what are you thinking as you sit here and you just hear this testimony? Like, what going on in your head aside from you crying, feeling emotional? Because you gotta know that he's done something. Like, he's not 100% innocent. Like, has she said some things and it's like, oh girl, he told me the same thing about being Michelle and Coretta. Like, did he say that to you too? Why he got your mama on one end and you on the next, holding hands, walking into the courtroom? Like, what's on your mind? What's on your mind? Listen, I'm not gonna come down on Megan too much. I mean, it look crazy because that ain't your husband or nothing like that. You heavily supporting a man that you've been with for less than a year. I'm not gonna come down too much on you because women have chosen worse and they continuing to do so. So, girl, who the fuck am I? Anywho, I agree. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Threatening someone with killing yourself is manipulative and deranged behavior. It's in them. I have to agree. Yeah, I think you're right. And I am. And with that being said, that's why I put it on both of them. I agree with this statement. I feel like just as much as he has been manipulative and deranged, she definitely completely took it there because she pretended to take some damn pills. Now, I don't know if she did or didn't, but that's what she told the cops. But what I will say is the timeline don't add up, because if he's beating on the door at 11 and you supposed to be knocked the hell out from taking so many pain pills or whatever it is that you say you took, but then you could send a text message at 7 minutes later of him beating on the damn door. You could send a text message to your friend. And then what, 9 minutes after that or so, the cops show up and then you back here acting like, girl, ain't nobody got, like, them, both of their ass is manipulative and deranged. Okay. I believe she's also said it and she's also shown that she was going to try and off her damn self. So they both crazy as hell. That be my only thing. Like, and this isn't directed at you. It's just like a general statement. When people call out him, make sure y'all look at her ass too. Okay, because it's the same coin. Somebody just got a different side of that bitch. Is what it's given. Okay, you flip it either way it go, bitch. You finna get crazy and toxic. So that's just where they at. But that's just where they at, girl. I don't know. But I just wanted to come and chit chat about it real quick. It looks like they might be going to the courtroom soon, and we might hear a verdict today. We'll see what it is. And we'll see. We'll be watching Jonathan, and seeing how his career progresses, because I do feel like all eyes are on him. And if he is found not guilty, even though it's a lot of people that's gonna believe what they want to believe, all eyes are still on him, and he probably gonna have a bigger comeback than anything. So yeah. Oh, Chloe, I wonder that too. I wonder, why didn't he testify? Why did you, like, what made you not testify? Because I feel like he should have got up there and testified. I don't know his reasoning as to why he didn't. I don't know. I don't know if they could have heard what the that witness said, and that was enough to paint him in a better light. The witness as far as the driver. And it was like, we don't even got to say nothing. Matter of fact, we're going to drop this video as well. And this video is going to, tell it all. And the video we drop is going to be in alignment with what their witness, the prosecutor's witness, says. So you don't even got to say nothing. You ain't even got to hit the stand and say anything. But that is still a good question though. Like, why not? If you saying you not guilty, get up here and tell us why you ain't. Get up here and tell us why you ain't. I'm kind of glad he didn't, because I don't want to see the theatrics and the paintings of you trying to cry all over the damn place for sympathy. I'm not interested from him nor her. But that, I still think that's a valid question. Okay, somebody said it was too risky. Okay. All of the questions his lawyer was asking were getting sustained. So that's why he didn't testify. Plus, she had already testified in direct testimony that he had never hit her or anything else violent. That is true. That is true. And I could have sworn she also admitted that she did hit him inside of that vehicle. She did. So, yeah, well, there it is. He ain't need to testify. Okay. Boom. But yeah, so it's kind of like she done pretty much told on herself, and her credibility started to chip away to me day by day. Things started to chip away at her. And I think the biggest thing that hurt her, to me, her could have possibly hurt her case and could have, heavily helped Jonathan, was she's a runner, she's a track star. I do. When they dropped that video footage, and some of the stuff that the prosecutors were claiming happened, we didn't see happen in the video. And the fact that this man, ran and she followed, she pursued him. The very person that she says abused her, the very person that she got on this stand and was so emotional about and cried all over the place about and just act like she was so traumatized over. We see that you actually ran. So for me, if I was a juror, how I'm assuming, this is, I don't know, I'm assuming that I would be looking at this like, you're crying because you're still hurt over the breakup. That's why you're crying in our face today. And any hope that you may have had of y'all getting back together is dead. Even if he is with Megan, she probably had hope that they would possibly get back together. It's dead now. For sure. That's why I think she was truly crying on the stand. Because y'all have done the same shit to each other. Period. But oh yeah, Travis testified. Yes, he did. He sure did. Travis got up there and testified. Listen, Jonathan, you better hope that verdict come back in your favor, baby. But Travis got up there and testified, and Travis did a great job. And for me, his story never changed. They tried to trip that man up and everything. That man got up there and testified, okay? I listen. I was here for Travis now. I was here for that man. Because I'm like, you don't get to do what the hell it is you want. Be married to somebody else and then be in a relationship with him. Going out getting BBLs and whatever else your ass getting. And as soon as he ain't trying to, I think he could have said something. No, I think he was texting somebody else. And when he was texting somebody else and she caught it or whatever, or somebody else called him, she tore up his damn PlayStation and showed her ass and got upset and started going off on this man. Didn't want to send some people at his door. And it's like, ma'am, you're upset because he's getting a call or a text from another woman, but you have a whole husband. Are you okay? Are you okay? No. Excuse me? So, yeah. And I feel like when he killed that boy, unfortunately, the boy should have never went over there on that humbug that he was on. And number two, I feel like that blood was never on Travis's hands. It was on her hands. I would never send my little brothers over there to get with guns ready to pow at somebody's house late at night. Somebody coming to your house after 9, you know what's going down. You know what they're there for. Not Travis Scott, y'all. If I say it's Travis Scott, no, I meant Travis Rudolph. We're talking about Travis Rudolph. He was a NFL player. And I think he had an opportunity to go off and practice with a major team. But the situation with that young lady got him tied the hell up. And I think he could have been locked up in prison for a year over that situation of him murdering that boy or killing that boy or whatever, because he didn't murder him, but the boy did die, only for him to be found not guilty shortly thereafter. It was a wild story. Y'all gotta check it out. I'm sure there's some clips out there and some people. I mean, I have like 2 videos I think on my page talking about it, but it's Travis Rudolph. He was an NFL player, kind of got set up by his girlfriend, sent some younger kids, her little brother and his friends, to her door. And them little boys, y'all, if y'all watch over there on Law and Crime, and y'all probably don't have the time, because I literally sat and watched like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of testimony. Them boys got on that stand and lied their ass off. Do you hear me? And then she got on the stand and had the audacity to have an attitude and was lying as well. Girl, it was a mess. It was a mess, girl. That was the case of the year. What? From what the people in the courtroom said, the jury was very annoyed with her and very annoyed with the prosecution. All of this is a misdemeanor. Yes, it's a misdemeanor. That's what's so crazy to me. So it's like when you hear his attorney kind of say that this is like a racial thing, it's kind of hard to not believe it. And if it's not a racial thing, it's because he's a celebrity, a rich man, and you guys, it's some type of ist in it. Okay? I don't know what the IST is in it, but it's giving something. Okay? Because it's a third degree, it's a misdemeanor. You really do not have to go to trial for this. Y'all could have sorted this shit out a long time ago. But y'all were so dead focused and so strong. That's what I don't like about some of the state attorneys. I feel like some of them are great and they do their job and you do what you're supposed to do and keep your foot on their necks. But then also at the same time, y'all really be grasping for straws with some of these cases. And then these men and women go up there to the front, attesting that they're innocent and are found guilty sometimes. You know, and it's not even that the state prepared a great case. It could just be however the jurors feel with whatever the info is or whatever. It could be that the jurors were already sold on how they felt about the situation before they even got there. Ain't no damn telling. You know, so it's just when you know that y'all probably could have resolved a lot of stuff before even coming to trial, wasting these people's dollars. And this lady was trying to get this misdemeanor wrapped the fuck up. And then that's the other thing. Y'all trying to paint him to be this so horrible person, but you charged them in the third goddamn degree. So that's what's like, and I'm not trying to downplay any of the degrees for real, but I am in a sense. Like, girl, it's the third damn degree, girl. I mean, it ain't like it's 10 in the first. Girl, he will only do a year. Like, let's wrap this up. Stop playing. Like, girl, let's wrap this up. Get this man his probation or whatever he gonna do, or just drop this case and will not give him probation because they wanted the case dismissed. Dismiss this case, especially once you learn evidence about this woman. Like, girl, but you know, it is what it is, child. It is what it is. Somebody says that unpopular opinion, Jonathan Majors only is attracted to white women and he's using Megan to win favor, but he likes to play in the snow. I wouldn't be surprised. If that's true. That he only primarily I don't know his true dating history to really know who he's been connected with, you know. So I mean, it is what it is. I do feel like he might have an attraction to her. I mean, here's the thing. I think that he is attracted to Megan. I mean, who isn't? High key. And he very well could be using her. He could be. For her sake, I pray that he's not. I hope that it's a genuine connection that they have. We'll find out later in the year of 2024. That's going to tell it the hell all if they ain't together a few months later. But I feel like people can date who the fuck they want, Haki. Even if I have dated 3, 4, all the men that I've dated are black, and then I decide to go and I date a white man, that don't mean I don't like white men, girl. I just didn't like them black niggas. I like them too. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, hey. But I think a lot of people do agree with, you know, what you're saying, though. A lot of people feel like he's using her. And I'm not denying that, you know, that's true or not. But I think it, you know, he might like her a little bit, child. Somebody said I would cry too on closing day because of his fate is about to be decided true. That's true. You would cry too. He has cried a few times throughout the trial. You're getting a bit of a full pie. Got you. Okay, so he's cried a few times. Okay. Let's see. I feel like that was Megan that was on the phone. I think so too. When you talk about some damn Cleopatra coming at you, Cleopatra. Like, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, big, you right. I would not hide my white man. I would not hide my white. Oh, you got me. Girl, I would not hide my white man. Because ain't nobody know these two was together until this damn situation. And what's crazy to me is that the pictures of them together are on red carpets. So somebody knew that they was together. I did not know. Majority black folks did not know that they was together. Okay. So, but you know, that's a good one, girl. That was a good one. Because I wouldn't hide mine. I wouldn't give a fuck about none y'all talking about. Hello? It's my white one. You ain't got to deal with it. You wouldn't have to deal with that one. But, girl, yeah. Somebody says, I hope I never have to sit in the courtroom waiting for a jury. Listen to me. When I say we see each other on everything, because I thought about that with the British situation. British Williams, a basketball wise, is about to go and do them 4 years. I think about that with a lot of stuff, like especially like the people that might like they might hit somebody with their car unintentionally and the person die or something like that. Or if you're in a car accident and cause the other person's death and then you got to go, like, I just would never want to. I'm like, oh, baby, let me just do everything right, Lord, please. Let me take my time. Let me just stay in the house. I don't even want to go nowhere. It's too expensive to do any damn thing anyway. Okay? I would never want that feeling. Do you hear me? So I feel you, not even just with this, just with all these little different cases that pop up. Because nowadays, I just really feel like it don't take much for you to get locked the hell up for something. Okay, especially when you black, child. So yeah, but I just wanted to come and chit chat with you guys about this case. So we might be back later today. If they have a verdict for us, they might still be deliberating. But we shall see. Okay. But I thank you guys so much for joining. All right, definitely like up the video. Hopefully we could get the likes to match. Make sure you guys are liking and supporting the channel. All right, I am JamiThatsMe. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe. Okay, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like Soldier Rag. Leading my people like quarterback. But I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for this and they died of me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but you run no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my back.